Understand. What impact does it have on victims? On a social emotional level, victims are more likely to have problems at work or school immediately following a violent incident and may even have interpersonal conflicts with family members and friends. Feelings such as lack of trust, inability to focus, less closeness to loved ones, distrust of new acquaintances, and reduced social network are just a few examples of the possible immediate effects of a hate crime situation or discriminatory violence. On a psychological level, international studies indicate that the physical and psychological consequences tend to be more serious, the symptoms more lasting, and that there is an increased likelihood of showing symptoms such as higher level of anxiety and stress symptoms, lack of trust and feeling of vulnerability, difficulty concentrating, more difficulty sleeping, anger, fear, and less sense of security, feeling of lack of control. In addition, these victims show a higher risk of developing diseases such as depression, anxiety disorders, post-traumatic stress disorder. Another key aspect is the fact that the healing process is longer for these victims when compared to victims of crimes of the same nature but not motivated by bias. Victims of hate crimes based on race or ethnic origin can suffer from a particularly complex impact. The implications that this type of crime can have on self-image, community perception, and sense of security are very complicated. This is due to the fact that the victims realize that the act of violence could only be aimed at them due to a distinct, identifiable, and visible identity feature. Since these victims are part of a highly stigmatized groups, often associated with negative prejudices by the rest of the population, their sense of despair can increase. It is important to understand that the impact this type of crime has on its direct victims goes beyond their psychological well-being and emotional balance. Like any other form of victimization, regardless of the motive behind it, victims can also be affected in their physical functions, physical damage, more or less permanent, including disability, in their financial economic status, total or partial destruction of property, medical expenses, etc., in their social functions, changes in habits, different patterns on social interaction, social stigma, etc. Finally, it is important to underline how discriminatory acts against members of a particular social group can negatively affect the well-being and the self-esteem of the rest of its members. Hate crimes against a member of the community, verbal abuse, online abuse, vandalism, assault. Thought and perception. Feel that the group is under attack, personal vulnerability, empathy towards the victim. Emotional reactions, anger, anxiety, shame. Behavioral responsive, action in defense of the community, avoidance, confrontation, retaliation.